Hello everybody, welcome back to part 7 of the Border Corner. One of the things that I give the birds at this time of year to help with their conditioning is dandelion. It's dandelion leaves, and what I do is try and get some of the root out when you pull the dandelion out as well. And I cut the root in half and offer this to the birds, and it's something that they're really quite keen on. So I've been out this morning and picked some leaves around the garden. Now I'm doing this in my garden. Even though I've got a dog, I know which parts of the garden that he goes to, and these leaves have been collected in parts of the garden that he's excluded from. So I know it's clean, and obviously that's something that we really need to be careful of. If you're picking and collecting your own dandelion leaves, please make sure it's coming from a source where you know it's clean, no pesticides, no dogs, so on and so forth. It's the last thing we want to be doing is introducing anything of that nature into the birds. So, and then when I've collected it, go and give it a really good wash, and then I get on and give that to the birds. So that's what I'm going to do now. A couple of things that we're going to cover today is I've paired up another couple of birds. Touched on these a little bit briefly previously, but we'll have a bit of a closer look at those, and I'll tell you what my plans are and what's happening with those. I've also got some new arrivals that have come to the Border Corner this week, so hang around to the end, and I've got a surprise for you, and I'll show you what's come along and joined the teams. So here we go again. This is the pair in cage 41-42. He is the lightly variegated yellow cock. She is the buff hen. We've seen them in another couple of videos. Her first round she laid 5 eggs, but she didn't even bother trying to sit them. So I'm assuming that that's down to her age, because she's a first time, she's an unflighted bird. So I'm assuming that's the reason for that. So she's laid that first egg. What we'll do now is we'll take the egg out and get it into the egg food drawer. One of the things that we do with canaries is we remove their eggs as the hen lays them, because we want all of the eggs hatching in the nest at the same time. So what we do here is we've got some plastic eggs. And what I do is, using these tweezers, I very carefully take out the egg that hen has laid in the nest, drop it into a little bit of seed. Just sort this cage drawer out. Sorry about this. And then you place that egg that we've removed with a false egg, and just drop that in place, and put the nest pan back where it was. Now, one of the things you can see with this nest is it's not actually up on the round spring. She didn't want to nest in there at all for some reason. So I've just put the nest. She was trying to make a nest on the floor and was digging around in the sawdust on the floor. So what I've done is I've pushed the nest back into the corner, as you can see, and she's built a nest, quite a robust nest, has to be said. She's built a nest up in there. So first egg laid. So I'll put that on my breeding card, and but the egg that she's laid will go into my egg food box, which I'll show you now. So now I brought the egg in its little egg food drawer with seed in back to my main egg food drawer box. This is just a DIY box for screws, nuts and bolts and so on. What I've got in it is some mixed canary seed, and then in each pot where an egg's been laid, in this example cage 41, I just put a little card in, and then very carefully drop the egg into that compartment. What I do is every day I go in and I turn that egg 2 or 3 times a day, the same as the hen would do if she was sitting on the nest, just to try and make sure that there's no egg getting stuck inside. I'll keep collecting until she's laid the 4th day, and then I'm generally setting on the 4th day. Sometimes she may lay a 5th egg. If she does, then that means that you might have one egg that hatches slightly before the other birds. I found most of my birds lay 3 or 4 eggs. I have waited until a 5th egg, and then I found that the eggs have been in the drawer for an extra day for no reason. So I guess it swings and roundabouts. Unless someone can tell me that there's a reason why I should be waiting until that 5th egg, I'm not sure if there would be. So this is the process that I've been following. This is my breeding card that I use. So you can see I've got cage number up at the top here, and then details about the cock and the hen, their colour, their ring numbers and so on. And then across in this section I've got details of when the eggs were laid and when they were hatched and so on. So this is the first egg that's been laid today. So I'm just going to jot in here today's date, 30th of March. And I'll keep doing that then until I'm up to the 4th egg, and then I'll set the eggs. Last time out I mentioned the 2 birds that I've got sitting quite tightly, or 2 of the birds I've got sitting quite tightly. Both of these have been trodden by the main stock cock. So this is the first one. As you can see, she's sitting quite tightly down there. She's sitting on 5 eggs. They were all set on the 24th of March. So for those of you watching that aren't sure, what happens with most breeders with canaries is they'll let the canary lay an egg, and then the egg will be taken out and replaced with a plastic dummy egg. And that will be repeated until the hen has laid 4 eggs. Once she's laid the 4th egg, the dummy eggs will all be removed from the nest and all the real eggs will be put back in. And the main reason for doing this is so that all the eggs hatch at the same time, which means in terms of management within the canary room and with the hen feeding the chicks are all going to be at the same age. So hopefully it means that they will all ask for the same amount of food and all receive the same amount of food from the hen. So what do I mean by management? One of the things that you find is that you may have a hen that lays 5 eggs and one of those youngsters is struggling. If you've got another hen in the bird room that's hatched some eggs out at a similar time, then you can remove that chick from that nest and place it perhaps in a nest where there's only 2 chicks. So then you'll have one hen bringing up 4 and another hen will bring up 3. Will bring up 3, 2 of her own, and the 1 fostered chick. It also means that when we can introduce a little bit of control over the birds, try and set the eggs as close as possible to each other, and then that way it means that fostering either eggs or chicks is a little bit easier. So if I show you her breeding card, you can see on here that she laid her first egg on the 21st of March, and I set the eggs on the 24th of March, and then she laid on the 25th and 26th. I'm not quite sure why I set them on the 24th, so what I just said there is a little bit off, but generally speaking, you would set the eggs on the day the 4th egg was laid, so that should have been the 25th, so I hope I've got that right. And they're due on the 7th of April. Now, I have candled the eggs, and again, for anybody that's not sure, that's new to keeping canaries, what we mean by candling is where you shine a very bright light into the egg, and you can tell whether the egg is clear or whether it's fertile and there's actually an embryo inside growing. If it's clear, you just get literally the light just shines through and you get a fairly light egg. If there is a growing embryo, the egg can be darker, and you usually see veins forming on the inside of the eggs as well. So she has had her egg set for 6 days, 7 days. So you should usually be able to tell after 7 days. So I will, hopefully, if she gets off the nest to feed later today, I'll have the opportunity of having a look at her eggs and seeing if any of them are fertile or not. So moving on to the next hen. This was the clear buff hen that we talked about last time. Again, the cock you can hear singing there is actually the cockbird that mated this hen. So she's also sitting on 5 eggs. They were set, here's her breeding card. They were set on the first egg laid on the 23rd of March, and they were set on the 26th of March. So she's a little bit behind the other one, 2 days behind. Her eggs are due on the 9th of April. So I'll wait until Monday, 1st or 2nd of April, got my dates wrong. 1st or 2nd of April, and then I'll see if I can handle her as well. So I can have a look and we'll see whether she's got any youngsters or not. Now, one of the things that I'm learning with this hobby is that the birds don't all come into condition when you want them to. As much as your plan and intention will be to have all your birds all on the nest at the same time, that doesn't always happen. And if I very carefully slide the camera along to here, and we look at this hen, she is the 3rd bird that I want that same cock to tread, and she's nowhere near. I've put a cock up to the cage in a cage. We looked at that last week. If you remember, I hung the cock on the cage, and she just looked at him. So no interest at all. So she's also a nest sister to the buff hen that we've just looked at. So there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't come in together, other than the fact that birds, like humans, are all unique. So she will come into breeding condition when she's good and ready, and I just have to wait and be prepared. So I do that by making sure that I keep that cockbird as fit as possible, giving him things like dandelions, like we just talked about, keeping up on his soft food, conditioning feed and so on. That all helps. So hopefully it won't be too much longer and we'll be ready for her. Now, I just wanted to touch on these two briefly. This is both of these are 2022 birds. The white hen, the white cock is the yellow feathered cock, and the hen is a buff hen. They've been in together now for a week, pulled the slider. They've been a bit niggly, to be honest. No signs of him treading her or her squatting, asking to be trod. No sign of him offering to sing or to tread her or anything. So I think that he's not ready. I'm assuming that he's not in breeding condition yet. I've come in this morning and she's laid an egg on the floor. Now, I'm pretty sure there's no way that he's trod her. So I don't see that there's any possibility that there could be youngsters in here, in the egg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split them up today and keep them apart so they can't see each other for a week. And then this time next week, I'll pull the slider and then let him see her through a crack, and then we'll see how we go and see if we see any improvement from that. So here they are together. And now here they are split apart. So as I say, I'll leave them with the slider in for a week. And then this time next week, I'll pull it out by 1 inch and I'll start introducing them again. And we have the next pair to look at. This is a self-green hen, and she's in here with the heavily variegated cock. This is their second attempt. So even though I saw him tread her a number of times in the last round, unfortunately the 5 eggs that she laid were all clear, which was a little bit disappointing. He's a good cock, so I was hoping for good things from him. So but anyway, he trod her this morning. I had a look on my CCTV camera, and I witnessed a good tread this morning. So hopefully these have just, I paired these together again on the 29th. So when was that? That was Wednesday, and they've been really good. He's been feeding her. As soon as she started to go to nest, he was on the side of the nest pan feeding her. I'm going to try and catch that on camera if I can, because I love seeing the cockbirds feed the hens. So it's so frustrating that if he goes again with this hen and we get clear eggs again, then I think I'm going to have to assume that his days of breeding are past, because He was with the blue hen last year, and they had 3 nests, 15 eggs in those 3 nests, and they were all clear. So he's had another 5. She's laid 5 eggs already this year, and they were clear. So, and this hen is the mother of the self green hen that's sitting on the 5 eggs that I just showed you. So she raised 2 chicks last year, so I know that she's okay. She's on a black ring, so hopefully she should have this season in her, at least, I hope. And then we'll see. The nest was pretty much finished yesterday. She's been in and out the nest today. As I say, he trot her this morning, so I'm hoping that it won't be too long, and we'll have some eggs in this nest as well. The other bird that we've got sitting on eggs is this blue buff hen. She was in double breeder with the variegated yellow cock, if you remember. She's been sitting tight, good as gold. Unfortunately, I don't think these eggs are full. I have candled them. There's 3 eggs in there. I have candled them, and they look clear to me. So as you can see from her breeding card, her first egg was laid on the 20th of March, and then there was a gap of 2 days, and then she laid again on the 23rd. Now, the reason for that is on the 21st and 22nd, she laid a very kind of yolky, globby mess on the 21st, and that didn't really, it made me think that she had problems with calcium and that I was going to have problems with all of her eggs. And then on the 22nd, she didn't lay anything. She was very puffed up all day, and I was concerned about egg binding and so on. Then on the 23rd, she laid another egg, and that would have been her 4th egg. So I thought, right, well, I'll set the eggs now. So I set the 2 eggs that she had laid, and I put a dummy egg in as well. I left the dummy egg in as well. And she laid again on the 24th. So effectively, she's her body clock thinks she's laid 5 eggs, even though she's actually only laid 3. And as I say, I think they're clear. But I'm letting her, if the eggs are clear, I'll let her lay on the eggs until she's reached 10 days. And then if at 10 days, I candle the eggs and they're still clear, then I'll take them away. Now, I know that you can probably tell experienced breeders will know at 5 days, and you can be fairly comfortable at 7 days, I think, to know whether there's a chick growing inside the egg or not. A hen has to go through a 14-day cycle anyway, I believe. So even if I take the eggs away, she will be very moody and upset for another 3 or 4 days anyway. So I'll leave her until she's been sitting on for 10 days. Then I'll candle the eggs, and if they're clear, I'll take them away and take the nest pan away, and then I'll gradually get her building up and recouping again. At the start of the video, I mentioned that there was a surprise for me to introduce you to some new arrivals, and here they are. These are a pair of fifes. We have a yellow cockbird, a 2022 bird on a brown ring on the left, and we have a buff hen on the right. I think I can't remember if she's a 2022 bird as well. She's a lovely, well, they're both lovely little birds. So now my main reason for getting these guys in was to be as feeders. So I mentioned before about nest management, and about the fact that what we try to do is get our birds nesting at the same time so we can move eggs around. Part of the beauty of fifes is that they're so good at feeding their young. So one of the things that I had in mind when I bought these in from a friend was to act as feeders. If any bird walked off the nest, or if any bird had too many eggs laid and too many youngsters and couldn't cope with them, now I've got the capability with these two in the bird room. They give me a little bit of extra scope to help manage that workload. And here we have my second pair of new arrivals. These birds are both also fifes. We've got an over-ear bird and a unflighted bird. I think she's unflighted. Cock on the left, hen on the right. Again, exactly the same intent for these as I've got with the two variegated birds. Their main reason for being in here is to help me with managing the youngsters and any eggs that the boarders lay. But I know that boarders can be difficult. I know that they can be tricky birds, so I might even just have a couple of rounds of youngsters with these fifes, just so that I can breed some birds in the bird room, make sure that I definitely get some birds in the bird room. So that's something that we'll have to keep an eye on. So there we are. So two new pairs, variegated and heavily variegated and self-green pair of five canaries. You'll have noticed in both of those clips I've got the nest on the outside still. I took the solid slider out of these yesterday and put wire sliders in. I haven't seen them any feeding or any beaking or anything like that, so I'll give them another 2 or 3 days of that. I'll probably put the nest pans in tomorrow and put some bedding material in and see how they go. I haven't seen lots of evidence of the hens carrying yet, so but I'll just put the nest pan in and drop some jute nesting material in, just so they've got something of interest, and see what she does. If they start building up, then that's great. If not, then I'll take it out. I don't want to rush them, obviously. They'll just get here when they get here. So, but yeah, so there we have the fifes. I did a poll on my YouTube channel. I think I did it on Wednesday, so it's been out there for about 36 hours. I've had loads of people reply, so thanks ever so much for people that responded to the poll. I think it was 120 people responded to the poll, and overwhelmingly folks like the longer content. I think it was 89% of everybody who responded asked for longer contents, and they're happy for the videos to go up to 30 minutes. So I'll probably keep still doing that. There will be a few short ones as well, but as that's what folks want to see, then that's what I'm going to try and do. So I'll try and keep some decent content. They're not all going to be that long, obviously, because if I've not got a lot to say, they'll be quicker. But basically, I was worried that if I put out a video that was 25, 30 minutes long, folks are going to start turning off. So, and you voted and told me that you like the long stuff. So that's what I'll be doing. Well, this is a bit of a first for me, this bit. And I have to say, I hope Matt of the Canary Room doesn't think I'm treading on his toes here, but I've got a bit of a question time session. Now, I know Matt does question time on a regular basis on his show, and I certainly don't have anywhere near the experience and knowledge of what Matt does. But I have had a couple of people ask me questions. So I think some of these questions are perhaps from people that are only just starting out in the hobby and have perhaps found my channel. And have asked me a couple of things. So if you can excuse me and Matt doesn't mind, I'm going to do my own little bit of question time. So the first one of these is, why are the colours so contrasting? Do you add colour food? Now, there are breeds of canaries where colour food is an important factor. A lot of the red factors, particularly, obviously, they feed colour food to those. The Red Factor Man and Carl's Bird Room are two channels that focus on red birds, or certainly include red birds with Carl. So you'll be able to jump onto their channel to have a look at using colour feed. But with my birds, I don't use any colour food. There's a variety of colours. From the solid green, it's called self-green birds, and here is a quick clip of a self-green cock. And it goes all the way through to what is called clear. Now, a clear bird is a yellow bird, and here's an example of a yellow bird. This is also a cock. And then what you get is a mixture of everything in between. So that's called variegation. And there you get different birds carrying different amounts of green feathering against their yellow feathering. So that's why we get variegated birds. Behind me you can see what is called a yellow variegated. And I've shown you pictures of the buff, of the buff variegated birds earlier in the video. So now they are based on the green colour, so that's called the ground colour. Now, if I get this wrong, please anybody jump in and advise accordingly. You also get what birds that are called allied to white, and this is where the melanin in the birds is replaced with white. So you don't have yellow, you have white as the base colour. And that's where you get the white canaries, which I showed you earlier. The white cockbird that I've got, here he is again, just as a quick refresher. And then you get blue, and you've seen the blue hen on the nest earlier in this video. Another variation you get is called cinnamon. And the cinnamon gene is where I believe the green colouring is changed to a cinnamon colour. So you still have yellow as a base, but that is overlaid with cinnamon. So you don't have yellow and green feathers, you have just cinnamon feathers. And if you have a cinnamon bird paired with a white bird, then some of the resulting young can be fawn. So those colours that we talked about that start with just green and yellow, we've now introduced white, fawn and blue. So they're the main colours that you can get within the border canary. So I hope that answers your question. A bit of a long-winded answer, but I hope that answers your question for you. Sorry, I meant to say for Carl's Bird Room and the Red Factor Man, I've put a link in. So if you're interested in the colour feeding canaries, you can go and have a look at Carl's Bird Room and the Red Factor Man with Glenn. The other question that I got was quite a straightforward one. Chap wanted to know how big my bird room was. It's actually 8 foot wide by 12 foot long. I'll try and do a quick video. It might be a bit distorted, but I'll do a video showing you the interior of the bird room, and then I'll also do a quick shot of the room from outside. You'll have to excuse the fact that we haven't finished painting the outside of the shed yet, which is why it's two-toned with green and orange. So that'll be something for this summer to do. Already I'm thinking that the bird room's not big enough. By the time I've got my bank of cages built down this far end, that's another 16 cages. That'll give me a few more birds, but is it going to be enough birds for me to create the type of stud that I want to be able to keep on showing? So we'll see. I might have to talk nicely to my wife to see if we can extend the shed, but that's probably a couple of years away. So again, I hope you didn't mind me doing a question time. If you've got any more questions you want to ask me, obviously bear in mind that I am a novice, so I am learning. But please drop me a line. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. You can drop me an email or send me a YouTube message. So keep on liking the videos. It's been great, the number of likes that I've been getting. I've tried putting a few short videos out, and I know that a lot of you have been liking those, so thank you for that. We've had a couple of shorts out this week. Thank you for that. Keep on subscribing. I'm up to 320 people. I'd really love to get 500 by the end of April. That would be incredible if we can do that. So I know there's been a few thousand people who have watched different videos. So some of the videos have had 1,500 views, which is just amazing for me. So it'd be good if some of you could subscribe as well. So in the meantime, keep on birding. Good luck with your birds in the breeding season, and I'll catch you in the next one.